and welcome to the Instant Ink Comic Book Podcast. Today, we have an all-Canadian show, which is kind of rare for us, but it's we all know each other from local cons, so it's one of the few episodes where we actually all know each other before we start. The one thing we don't know before we start is the page that we're making together. The whole point of this podcast is we all get together, we get some unknown prompts, and we'll make a one-page story beginning to end. You'll see the whole process, us brainstorming it, drawing it, lettering it, and at the end we'll have some piece of art that we didn't have before we started. So my name is Adriano. You can find me at Pesto Comics on everything online, at pestocomics.com as well. And I'm joined as always by my co-host Roberto. Roberto, let us know who you are.
I'm Roberto Viacava. I'm the creator of Voyager. And you can find me on robertoviacavaillustration.com, and you can spread to different social media from there.
Right on. And today we are joined by, again, our friendly Canadian, Steve. If you'd like to introduce yourself.
Great. It's a pleasure to be here. My name is Steve Bynoe. I am the co-creator and co-writer of Atrium. And you can find me at Steve Bynoe Art on Instagram, as well as at Comics Asylum and on Instagram, as well as on Twitter. And also I help to run Comics Asylum, and we do, comic book stuff and do all the media blasts for all the big companies.
That's awesome. Yes. So, like I said, we've seen each other a bit. I have my copies of Atrium next to me. I haven't read them yet, but they're here. So I am a fan. Probably. I will read them. I appreciate the art as I flip through them, but yeah, I do need to read them. That's a failing on my part. But
just wait till the series is done. Wait till the series is done, and then you can get it as one straight shot.
You know what? That's a good point. Let's do it all at once, right? And then I don't have to wait for the surprises. So
right.
That's a good call. I've waited this long, so I might as well. All right. So getting into it, I'm going to bring up some prompts on the screen in a moment. Ignore these ones because we're going to do them completely fresh because we want to prove that we don't know what the heck's going to come up. So I'm going to hit these. I'll read them out, and then let's pick what works for us. All right, so what do we got today? We have fireflies, write about a secluded stream with lots of wildlife. Good vibes, what's a situation where the character is getting great vibes? Unrequited love, someone you love does not love you back. The addict, write about a character addicted to something good. And I'm going to nix that last one because we've done it recently. So if none of these speak to you, we'll do one more prompt for you. So any of these sounding good, anything?
No, some of these are pretty good actually. I think either the bottom two, omitting holding hands. I think unrequited love or the addict.
Right on.
Yeah. So, do you want to vote on it, or do you want me to pick it?
You can pick it, but at the same time, if you wanna try to use both too, that's cool too. If you think they mix well together, or
I think they can actually.
Right? I feel like they kind of left and right hand, but yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. So we're gonna do that. We're gonna do a double prompt.
Yeah, why not?
Okay, let's do it. If we end up dropping it, that's totally cool. I would, no stress here, but like drop one or the other. But yeah, we'll start with that. We'll say that we're gonna go with two, and hopefully it sticks. All right,
for sure.
So Roberto, don't forget to share your screen this time when you're doing the layouts. We had an episode where he got like halfway through and then shared, and it was like, oh my god, we missed the process. It's always nice to see the surprise of what pops
like those old cooking shows where like they just say what the ingredients are and then they pull it out of the oven.
Yeah, and it's like, how did you get to that? That's incredible. So hopefully we could see what we're coming up with live. Nonetheless, all right. So unrequited love in the addict. So how do we make a very short story, one page, right? I did one recently like this. So I'm having a hard time pulling my mind out of that story, but yeah. Anything coming to mind? Any ideas? Any characters, settings?
Yeah, sure. I can see two people in a park, and they're either walking the park or they're in some sort of a cafe. Won't make it too complicated because you don't want to one thing you always have to be cognizant of as a writer is it's easy to put down a couple of words, but then the artist has to draw it. So,
Just
so
horses,
saying
cars,
something in pardon?
horses, cars, chariots, right?
Oh,
That's
yeah,
crowd
exactly.
tunes. That's what we
Yeah,
want, right?
exactly.
I'm the wall. You can throw everything, and we'll see what sticks.
Right.
So we're doing unrequited love and the addict,
Mm-hmm.
right? So addicted to something good, and then someone who's not getting the kind of love that they think they should be getting, or they're not getting access to that love, whatever that may be.
So, okay. So I feel like this lends itself to something, right? Like,
Yeah.
I like the idea of the park. Like, okay. Tell me if this is stupid.
No, no. Go ahead. There are no stupid ideas.
Yeah, I like that. That's good because I have plenty. um, so let's say it's like I'm thinking of a guy who's like addicted. It's not. I guess it's not good. He's like addicted to hot dogs, right? It's like I'm picturing like Central
Ooh,
Park,
hot dogs are good, man. As long
right?
as they're not boiled, then they're good.
Well, I see the Jays cap, right? And they got the hot dog day. I don't know if you've been to one of those.
I've been.
It's dangerous. It's
Yeah,
very
I
dangerous.
it's something that I'll never ever do again.
You don't leave there feeling good.
No, what is it? It's like $2 or $1 for a dog.
It's
It
a
was it
dollar.
was when they came out looking grayer than the asphalt outside of the
But you didn't go
stadium. I
for
was like,
12 of them or something crazy like that? You
no,
got to
I think I had three. I think my younger days maybe I would have like forced that, but
you'd have gone for it. Yeah.
yeah, really what I should have done is I should have done just like like a sausage, like a something that came off the grill as opposed to the boiled ones.
The ones that they're just bringing in by the truckload. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, just like a dead fish in an aquarium. It's just kind of like rough.
I mean, so I don't disagree with anything you're saying, and yet I go every year.
Of course,
I go
of
every
course.
year, and I try to outdo myself, which is probably something my doctor doesn't like to hear. But
Yeah. The crazy thing is though, is that like those hot dogs, as bad as they are, they're still better than the team at this point. So
yeah, it's very low bar, very low bar.
very low. You could trip over that bar.
Yeah,
Like, no problem.
yeah, it's been rough. I mean, so I'm wearing my TFC cap. Same, same
But,
deal.
no, but they've seen, TFC's seen some glory more recently.
In the past decade, yes, we
Yeah.
had our couple years of glory.
hmm
One shot away from a continental championship.
Right.
But,
Right.
yeah,
There you go.
but the past couple years have been very rough.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Toronto sports is kind of feast or famine right now.
yeah, yeah, exactly. So we'll see how the Leafs do, but
Yeah.
it's too early to say. But
Yeah. You know what? In maybe like 4 or 5 months, when it comes to April and the playoffs, that's when their time is.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Well, this is the thing, right? The season, they always do well in the season, and then
Yeah.
the playoffs come, and it's a different story. So
For them, it doesn't matter.
none
It
of
doesn't
it
matter until the playoffs.
exactly. But
And see if they can win more than one round.
yeah, exactly. But the good vibes are still welcome when they're around.
Oh, definitely, definitely. It's good for the city. Good for the city.
Yeah, exactly.
So, here's a question. And I love how this is coming along. The addiction to the hot dogs.
Yes.
What is going to be one of the wrinkles associated with it?
Yeah, so that's where we pull in the other prompts, right? Is the hot dog vendor the unrequited love? Does he love this hot dog vendor so much, and the hot dog vendor is there for the transaction? This is his best customer because he's addicted to hot dogs, but he actually loves the person vending said hot dogs. Is that
Ooh,
right?
that could work. That could definitely work.
Right? I always think tend to lean silly. I don't know, but
Yeah, no. You know what it could be? It could be definitely something along those lines, and then um, and maybe what he tops his hot dog with is a deal breaker.
oh yes, go like Chicago style. Like how dare you put
Right,
ketchup on your
right.
hot
Like
dog?
like maybe he's like I like corn relish and mayo,
Yeah,
and they're like,
they
how do
just
you have a
all
hot
go
dog?
together. How dare you?
They're like, how dare you? Right.
I like it. That's great.
So, this individual could be like a hot dog snob or something.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a great idea. Okay.
And
Okay.
maybe he garnishes it that way because that's how either his mom or his dad used to do it. So to remain connected to them because they've passed,
Oh, you're getting it dark.
he
I see.
garnishes it that way.
I like that. You're grounding it. Where I was just going full on cartoon. You're
No, but it can
you're
still be
making it
cartoon.
real.
We can still be cartoon. We can still have still have some
No, it's
fun with it.
good. It gives that balance because otherwise it just becomes full on silly. But you've added some depth to this.
Well, we can make it silly because part of it could be like how some people are like wine snobs,
Yeah, yeah.
right? Because she could be like a hot dog snob where she's like a I know like she sell just because I sell them doesn't mean I'm not a connoisseur kind of thing.
It's like a gourmet hot dog. How dare you ruin
It could be, and you know what? And she's trying to move into a food truck. She wants to get a food truck.
it? Yeah.
She wants to move from the park and just getting a stand to getting a hot dog food truck.
Like we're gonna, yeah, like this is
And
like I'm a
that's
chef,
her
damn it. Like how can and I'm stuck out here. All I have
exactly
a license for. Yeah,
right.
yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I like it. I like it. This is heading in an interesting direction.
Yeah, this is looking good.
Yeah, he's this is record time with the layouts here. We've given him a very clear picture, which is good. So story wise though, I feel like Roberto, how you feeling? Do you need more guidance as far as the beats go or
Yeah, a little. Yeah, I'm uh, just sketching out ideas of the characters, but the sequence is not clear yet for me.
fair enough? So
So
okay.
how about our hot dog connoisseur, or like the person who's going to buy the hot dog comes up and they do small chat, like they do some small talk, and then they can talk about maybe the game or how she's been or
Mhm.
whatever, just to get into it. And then she'll go, Are you going to get the usual, or what are we going to get this time, or do you have anything new?" And
So
then
it's not the first time they meet.
I would probably say no because it's unrequited.
Yeah, right.
Oh,
Like
okay.
he goes here all the time.
Yeah, and or it could be like, "I haven't seen you in a couple of days," or like, "Where have you been?"
Yeah, yeah.
Right?
But yeah, yeah. So the point is, it starts with her. She initiates saying, "Hey, like it's been a while," and
Yeah.
then cut to him with this like bashfulness. He's like,
Hmm.
"Oh, well, blah blah blah,"
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then
I've been away for a bit. Like maybe he was traveling, or he had to go out of town for work or whatever. Um, and then from there we can get into him ordering a hot dog,
orders
kind
the
of.
hot dog, and then does he make a move? Was that the con?
I
Is
think
that the
I
tension
think
there?
yeah, because how long is the first supposed to be a page?
Yeah, yeah. One page. So we
Okay.
got talking heads. So we got our first panel establishing shot. We have our talking heads
Yeah.
with the backstory through conversation, and then
Yeah.
yeah, we need our tension, conflict, and result, right? Um,
Now, just to clarify,
mhm.
is she his target as well too, or just a hot dog?
Yeah. So, oh, you know what? Okay, okay. I didn't think of it that way. I thought all from the whatever our main character is. I was thinking all from his point of view that he's both in love with this vendor and the hot dogs. But maybe it's like maybe she's in love with this guy, right? And he's just there for the hot dogs, and that's what makes it unrequited. Like I'm here for the transaction. I'm not. Yeah. Where she's like, "You're here to see me every
And,
day."
yeah, and maybe it's one of those things where he's like, she doesn't think he's interested,
Yeah,
right? Maybe she doesn't think he's interested, and vice versa, because he's like, you know, why would I why would this lady be attracted to me, right? I'm just some schlub
yeah.
ordering hot dogs.
Or is he, or is it like a class thing? Maybe he's like maybe he's a guy in a suit coming from some office, but he just loves hot dogs so much. But he's like, how would I be interested in a hot dog?
Possibly, possible. I think
Or she
if
thinks that, rather, right? Like she's like, this
pardon,
guy won't be
I
interested in me.
I think to be stereotypical,
Yeah,
it would probably work better if we're doing class if he's the vendor and she's like a power, like
true,
she's an exec.
true.
Maybe we make it her story. She's the
Yeah.
exec
Okay.
and she likes hot dogs with the corn relish and whatever
Yeah.
because it reminds her of going to baseball games with her parents when
Right
she
on.
was young,
Good segue. That was
right?
good. Yeah.
And he is like, she would never pick me because I'm a hot dog dude.
hmm
But he's really an entrepreneur and he's trying to get a food truck
Okay. I like
to
that.
be able to sell the hot dogs. We're gonna turn this into a little bit of like Hallmark.
Yeah.
Hallmark hot dog movie.
It's popular for a reason.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right on. Okay. I like that. Yeah. I do find, so just this the quick aside. I find whenever I'm trying to build tension in a story, what are
Hmm.
they when it's almost like a cheap thing. I tend to write women a lot because of it. It's like, how do you take a situation and then just make it more difficult for the character? Make them a
Right.
woman, right? It's just like, if it's difficult for a man, then you just make it a woman. Suddenly, everything has just become like exponentially more difficult.
Especially if it's like out of like a almost like a fish out of water experience
Yes,
for said individual.
yes, right. Because now you're in you're dealing with the man's world type of thing, right? And it's just, yeah, everything's just going to be more difficult. So
Right.
I always find
And
that interesting. It's yeah, it's like a cheat. It's like a cheat to just say, you know what? If it were a dude, like he would just like gruff his way through this, but it's
right.
not as accepted, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
You,
Because
you
like
have to think your way through it a little more.
right. Because like stereotypically, a guy could just pick up a hot dog vendor because she's
Yeah,
pretty, right? Because that's like working at a bar, like that happens all the time,
yeah,
right? Whereas if we flip it, not to be stereotypical, but if we flip it, then we have this woman who's like who's actually interested in him,
yeah,
but their worlds don't collide except for the hot dogs.
yeah.
And then she's probably thinking like my friends, if I told my friends that I'm in love with the hot dog guy, they're
Yes,
they're gonna be like, "What?"
yeah, exactly, right? It's all these added pressures that a guy
Yeah,
wouldn't have, like, you know what I mean?
right.
Like,
So,
there's no expectation, there's
mhm.
no, right? There's nothing like, I don't know. There's a lot of like assumptions and things that go in from the man side. So yeah,
Right.
it's
Yeah. So yeah,
don't
it'll be easier if she's quote unquote attractive. It'll be easier for him to make a move on her
exactly,
if he has the advantage of a power dynamic.
exactly. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
right. And if anything, like she would be more defensive about it, but instead it's the other way around. So now it's suddenly, yeah, the whole everything shifts. So
Right.
it's I think that's a great flip you've made. I think it'll work.
Yeah. Yeah. We did it together. We're working on it
Teamwork,
together.
teamwork.
Teamwork. Yeah.
Right on. So
Right. So they meet, they talk, they kind of catch up quickly, and it's like, hey, I haven't seen you in a bit. Um, and then I haven't seen you in a bit. And then she says, I've been away on business,
mhm,
kind of thing. And maybe he says, I haven't seen you in a bit. And then he goes, the usual,
yeah,
right? And um, and then he goes, and then he musters up the courage, maybe to go. I gotta ask, right? This is his moment. I gotta ask, corn relish, or whatever. And then that's where they get a little bit of the back and forth.
mhm. So are we going with this? Still going with the? That's what breaks this, or
Well, we haven't decided whether it's gonna work. Like, at the end of it, does it remain unrequited?
that's a good question, right? Like, is that the?
Because what's our end game on this one? Do we want them to be together, or or do we want the Hallmark kind of thing where like she asks him out
Yeah.
because he's got a hat and so because she mentions the baseball,
Yeah.
she's like, well, I've got an extra ticket, would you like to come? And then he might say sure, as long as there's no corn relish.
Yeah, that's a good. Yeah, I like that. It's a nice sweet ending with a little bit of a jab. Yeah.
Yeah, and that gives you a little bit of the dynamics of how like they're friendly with each other
Yeah.
and they're comfortable enough. So like
Yeah.
he like and that shows kind of like they're addicted to many things themselves, that like their relationship that hasn't started yet, but the possibilities
Hmm.
as well as the hot dogs.
Nice. Yeah, I think that works. I think that'll work.
Yeah. And then what we can do is we can say that she's been coming there for like a year or
Hmm.
something. That show so that what this is the tell part because we don't have a lot of time to show.
Yeah.
We'll know that they've been talking for a long time,
Hmm.
and then that's where he goes, look, I don't mean to offend you, but I just got to ask, corn relish? And then with like a weird kind of look, and then she says what it's for and why, and then after that she invites him to the game.
Right on. I think that'll work.
And then because I think we can get, what are we at now, 4 panels? I think we can probably get 5 panels out of that, not squish anything, and get some good
Yeah.
dialogue in there.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I think that works. What about you, Roberto?
I, yeah, I think it works. I'm gonna have a problem with certain things because I'm not much familiar with hot dog stands on New Fan Central Park, man. If looks too off, I just look for some reference.
It,
It
it
doesn't have
looks
to
good
be.
so far.
Yeah, it doesn't
Sorry?
have to be Central Park. That's just the image I had in my head. But it could be.
Yeah. But it looks
Yeah.
good so far.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Don't get caught up in the details. That was just.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, this isn't like Oppenheimer.
Yeah.
It's not down to the
Yeah,
last detail.
yeah, but you were speaking like this is so familiar to you that I was feeling a
It's
little
so
bit like,
specific.
yes.
Yeah.
No,
No, it's all good. No, we'll make it. We'll make it work.
yeah. So corn relish, since you brought that up, yes or no for you?
In a galaxy long ago, far, far away, yes.
Before indigestion and etc.
Before I got old, it was almost like one of the garnishes that like you can get onions, corn relish, a little bit of ketchup, and if you came out of a club or a bar late at night, that'll take you home. A
Yeah.
nice sausage.
Yeah, you need
Yeah.
something to absorb all that.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
all the disgusting stuff that you.
Yeah, that's right. All the poison. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. I go simple. It's mustard and sauerkraut, which the sauerkraut I know is so questionable. Like you
No,
open
no,
it
but it
on that
makes
cart.
sense, though.
It's good if you have a jar that you know where it's been in your fridge.
Right.
It's different when you're at a cart somewhere downtown.
Yeah, or in the middle of the day and it's been steaming hot, right?
Yeah. Right. You don't know who's shoved their knuckles in there.
That's the whole thing, right? That is, you just think of like how dubious the whole thing about eating street meat
yeah.
can be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why the food trucks I thought were going to be our like way out, right? Like I thought we were going to have a food truck, and it's effectively like a kitchen on wheels, right?
Pretty
So,
much.
okay, like now I can trust the food because the person's handing it to me whole cloth. I'm not, going with the condiments that everybody's had their fingers in.
Totally.
But then they're like $20 each for, you want a hot dog from a food cart? It's gonna be $15. The gourmet hot
Yeah.
dog. Yeah. Like,
Yeah, it's kind of crazy how the prices of those have like skyrocketed. I remember it was I guess about a year ago that I had the opportunity to get one after being out late at night,
mhm.
and like inflation just smacked me right in my face. I was like, $15 for a hot dog and a drink, like that's crazy. Because back in the day, like last century, It was like $5,
Yeah.
maybe seven. Because I remember the sausage was $3.50, and then
Mhm.
the pop was a
Yeah.
dollar 50.
So a fiver's getting you home, right?
Yeah, absolutely,
And
absolutely.
now, yeah, now forget it. Even the cheap ones, even the notoriously cheap ones. So if we're
Right.
talking very local, specific for folks, like Front Street on Blue Jays
Mhm.
Way, right? There's that hot dog cart right there. It was the
Yes.
cheapest in town. You could get it for like $2, right? Like if you wanted just a regular hot dog, like
Yeah.
$2, you're good. And now it's more than triple. Like forget it. There's no more cheap anywhere. It's gone.
Crazy.
Yeah.
How does a hot dog cost more than a comic book? Like
Right? That's insane.
there's something doesn't make sense there.
Right? You get more out of the comic book at least. But like, it
repeated
lasts
re-
longer than the hot
repeated entertainment, if
It lasts
nothing else.
longer.
dog.
Yeah, it does. Definitely does. No, this looks great.
Yeah, that's a good layout. I think
Yeah,
you got it.
that totally works.
Okay. Okay.
Cool,
I'll,
cool.
I'll keep going then.
Everything's gotten more expensive. The comics are an interesting one because I feel like they're trying. They're trying their darndest to keep them under $5 most of the time, but
Hmm.
even then, like, so they do the specials. They're like, oh, 32 pages, $8. Like, how are you gonna get new readers in at that price, right? Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Indie books, fine. Like indie books, you're helping like I mean, you're helping a creator. You go on Kickstarter, you're expecting to pay $10 for a regular floppy. But when you're going in for your issue of Batman, that's got to be $4 Canadian. You know, and it's those days are long gone. I don't know how you're gonna get new people in it. It's all gonna be the older set like ourselves that are keeping that industry
Well,
alive.
you're pretty much on, because when you factor in gaming,
Hmm.
and then what you get with manga,
Yeah.
the storytelling is completely different.
Hmm.
You get a lot more. You get a lot more story for what you're paying for in those formats.
Yeah.
One's totally immersive, and then the other one I just think speaks to the younger generation, the younger audience, better than traditional Batman, Superman, Spider-Man type stuff does. And if you look at most kids nowadays,
Hmm.
I was watching something on, it was either TikTok, it wasn't TikTok, it was Instagram Reels. This dude was like, I don't know if it was a dating scenario, but he was like, I don't care. I like anime, and if you don't like it, you just got to deal with it. And it was almost like back in my day, if you were going to tell somebody that you liked comic books or you were like a fan of Superman or whatever, you get a bit of a side eye. Now you can have people not liking each other because they're like, well, I'm a Naruto fan or I'm Full Metal Alchemist fan, and then that's the war. So that's the deal breaker in the dating scene. It's like, what anime do you like? Not, oh, you like anime, right?
Yeah. What a
We've
difference.
come a long way.
Yeah. What a difference. Like, yeah. When I was so I'm with my high school sweetheart, right? So
Right,
like, yeah. So when we first met, I kept all that hidden, right? Like
right.
that was a surprise. Little did she know, or like,
You were the Clark Kent, right?
yeah.
Where
Little did she know I'd be podcasting about comics much later in life. But
this is
I
not
don't
what I
think she
signed up
would have
for.
signed up for that had she known up front. But
Right.
yeah, that was the game. It's like, yeah, you wouldn't be caught at the LCS in your teenage years when you're still trying to figure that stuff out. You do it
Nah.
quietly. You you catch up where you can, but not until later do you say, oh, by the way, I have this. Speaking of the theme, I have an addiction to these comic books that I can't drop.
Right.
Right? Where nowadays, yeah, it's all out there. It's all it's yeah, it's a totally different world.
Oh,
But the
totally.
problem is, yeah, you like you said that the comics don't speak to that set. So even though there's that advantage that they don't have to hide what they like, they don't like what's out there. At least
Oh,
from
totally.
you know the main set. So I don't know.
Yeah, it's weird. Like, what's your opinion on this? Because is it just a fact that comics nowadays there's too many talking heads? Like I'm just talking about like Marvels and the DCs. Like I remember as a kid, and maybe it's just through the lens of time, right? Everything's different.
Hmm.
There was a lot more action in a lot of these books. Like there were a ton. Don't get me wrong. There was a ton of text. Like you had to read
Yeah,
a lot. But if you had 22 pages, sometimes you had like 10 pages of like fight or chase or some sort of action and an adventure. Now it
yeah.
seems to be just a lot of talking.
I think the yeah, I think it depends on the book, but yes, yes, I don't disagree. Like I was a big fan of. I've been collecting the Superman Triangle era of
Right.
Superman books and reading those, and it's definitely a little more dialogue heavy, but it's also a little faster in a way, like
Hmm.
the decompression. So I think that was a Bendis with Ultimate Spider-Man really introduced that, where it's like this story is going to take 10 issues, right?
Yeah.
Before he sees Mary Jane, it's going to take 20 issues, and
Right.
that where that would happen in one issue, right? Like
Yeah.
when there's a 3-part series, that's like our 10 issue events, right? So although there may have been dialogue wise, there may have been more. Like they were covering so much ground,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
That yeah, like and that's to your point about the manga, right? Like kids are getting a complete story. Yeah, it's distributed differently in Japan and all that, where they're getting it issue by issue. But as far as the North American group is getting, like they're getting the tankobon, like here's the entire story, right?
Yes.
And then you have the decompressed, like it's going to take 10 issues to get to the end of this arc, and it's going to cost you, $80 when you factor it all in with all the different floppies. So yeah, it's tough. I don't know. It's very strange. Um, Very strange world that we're in, because I don't know how you square that circle that square.
Yeah. Yeah. And I guess it goes back to like you look at old films.
Mhm.
Like Superman. The first Superman was on TV today, right?
Yeah,
And it's like, okay, it's dated. You can tell the effects and whatever, but man, the casting was great. And he did stuff in that movie that I had kind of forgotten.
throwing
When
the shield at him to.
pardon?
There's a point in is it the first or the second
There's
where
a second. Is it you talking about when the manhole cover gets thrown at him?
oh no, no. This one happened in the Fortress of Solitude, and he rips off the S and
Oh,
throws
I
that
still don't
someone
understand that. I
like
still
so
understand
big.
what happened there. And then the lasers coming out of Zod and everybody else. I was
Yeah,
like,
that's like
I
Silver Age inspired. Like it doesn't matter
yeah,
if it happened, just trust us, right?
just trust us. But it
Yeah,
was like he went and he raised he the what do they call it? San Andreas Fault
yeah,
had fallen, and he goes down and he pushes it back up, and I'm
yeah.
like, okay, that's pretty cool. And then he's saving everybody, but when he fixes the train track
Mhm.
and lays down, I'm like, that is some next level ridiculousness, but it works. Like it's like that's cool,
Yeah,
right? And I think like it's like, was it? Did Henry Cavill did get to do anything like that?
no, no. And
Like when
Henry
you
Cavill,
think of like, and the man went back in time.
yeah,
He went back in time to save everybody. That's how
yeah.
fast he was. Like that's so some old Silver Age kind of
Oh yeah.
stuff, right?
Like it
But
makes no sense, but it makes sense, right?
it makes total sense, right? Because you're buying it, right? But what I'm getting at is like, and it's kind of like I think of like Dragon Ball. Like
Hmm.
when you watch Dragon Ball, it's like these guys are destroying the planet every fight,
Yeah,
right? And sometimes a fight can be an entire episode.
yeah.
Now, obviously, you can't always do that kind of thing. But what I'm getting at is like Superman is amazing. Like the stuff he could do. I'm watching this and I'm going, there's no way in hell Batman can beat this guy.
Hmm.
Anytime, anywhere. I don't care how much prep time he has. Like the stuff that he's able to do.
Yeah,
With the modern storytelling, do you see the character do that kind of stuff? Right?
yeah.
And I'm wondering if it's that kind of thing when you have like anime and manga with these incredible, insane kind of power levels, and same thing in a video game, like these insane power levels.
Yeah,
It's kind of like the comics are maybe they're kind of boring. I think of like Spider-Man, the video game. right? The stuff that you could do with Miles and with Peter, I don't really see Spider-Man doing that in the book.
That's a good point. Yeah, like there is uh, a push to keep grounding things a bit too much, right? Where it's like, yeah, they're people, like they have conversations and this and that. And again, not to talk about Superman Triangle constantly, but you had that, but that was the domain of the side characters, right? Like
Right.
the Daily Planet is where you get your grounded stuff.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
then Superman's doing insane things on some weird planet somewhere, right? Like that's
Yes.
that's you don't
Yeah.
get that so much anymore. I am hoping with this whole speaking DC, this absolute initiative
Mm.
they've been doing, it's been great so far.
Oh, Batman's is absolutely bonkers.
Yeah, and actually I have it right here. I just got this early, the Wonder Woman. Can you see
How
that
is it?
thing? It's also great.
And is that the Dan Panosian cover?
It's the Dame Panosian cover, yeah. So
Okay, I had to reach out on the socials and just go. I just put like 4 fire emojis,
yeah.
and he was like, "Thank you," because like when I saw it, I was like, "Oh my god, this! It's a beautiful cover."
Yeah, I had to get it. I ended up getting like a stack. So my old LCS is online only now, but they had a
Right.
good deal where you could get that cover for the price of that cover if you buy the pack with all of them.
Oh,
So
sweet,
so
sweet.
I have a whole bunch of copies of Absolute Wonder Woman 1 now, just so I could get that cover.
And so, does it drop this week?
Yeah, so it's coming out Wednesday. And,
Okay, I
yeah,
might have to run to Gotham or Red Nails and see if I can get a
yeah.
copy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was really good. It was a really good start. Like so far 2 for 2, I would say.
Okay,
Yeah.
perfect.
Although this will be in December, so I don't know.
Yes.
How
So,
many will be out by then? 3, 4?
yeah,
Hopefully it's
probably.
still
Sure.
valid, what I'm
Yeah.
saying.
That I don't want to cut you off, but that top panel is smoking. Great, love it.
Yeah, he I'm always impressed with how quickly he can put this together. Like it would take me a month of erasing and trying again, and it still wouldn't look that good.
Hmm.
So yeah, it's
Yeah.
been a joy doing this and seeing what Roberto can do. But
So I'm thinking, Roberto, that panel's kind of like the "Hey, it's been a while. How have you
Mhm.
been?" kind of thing. Like that's the introduction panel.
mhm.
Yes, who's saying that? Bender or the girl?
Maybe him because she's been away,
Yeah, that makes sense.
right? Because then you can have his dialogue bubble at the top, and then hers lower, just under her chin. And then there's room then for him to say one other thing right at the bottom by where his hand would be.
Yes. I'm gonna lower everything a little bit, just getting the
No,
the
it's all good.
sketch.
The shapes out. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it totally works.
Awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the absolute stuff, I think maybe I'm really hoping that that's something that's gonna like catch on a bit. Like
Hmm.
the new 52 is a big deal when it happened. It was kind of a mess at the same time, right? So this seems to be a lot more organized and
Yeah.
clear with what the path is. So like they took the lessons from New 52 and Rebirth, right? Saying what
Hmm.
did we do wrong? What can we do better? So I'm really hoping this does it. This gets
And,
some folks back in.
and it true. And it's got a very Secret Wars vibe. Like,
Hmm.
you know, this won't be a spoiler by the time people are watching this, but
Yeah.
it's like, Darkseid's doing the Doom reshaping the universe kind of thing.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, right. So it's such a clean slate in an interesting way that like, but they're getting the core of the characters right. Like with
Mhm.
speak to both now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they really understand. Like you could change everything around it, but the core is the same, right? And
Yeah.
that's the difference. So at least you're not going to lose anyone, and hopefully, given now, like speaking of Absolute Batman, it's to what you said. It's like kids don't identify with these people. Well, maybe this new Bruce Wayne is a little more, you know, down to earth. Because what's been the complaint? Batman's a fascist, right? For how many years now that's been the meme. So it's like, well, this
Yeah.
maybe fixes that, like
Yeah.
this at least tries to address that. But I don't know.
Mm. Speaking of, because this is, it's just, I guess, it's something to consider.
Mhm.
Is Gotham like the worst place to live ever?
Yeah, I always wonder that. Like, why does anyone stay?
Yeah, like
It's
this is
already
it. I'm going to Metropolis.
yeah, right. Like the only people that would stay are the ones that can't leave, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But then why does like all the people who can leave, like why do they have homes there? Why do they, right? Like the Waynes had a purpose, so they were
Well,
like, I'm here because I'm here to build up the city. But everyone else,
yeah, but that's relative because I'm an immigrant.
sure,
So
Right.
I can ask myself, why do people live still in the place where I came from?
yeah,
But they look it differently. So why people live wherever in the world they live if they are worse than where we are? So
That's an excellent point. That's an excellent point. But I also think too, by the nature of how things are in the DC universe, it's
Mhm.
like, do I get killed by poisoned water from the Joker, or do I have airplanes always crashing, which is Metropolis always seems to have airplanes
yeah,
crashing.
well, but this what would I keep living in Middle East where I can get bombed or
But that's
I,
exactly it, right?
yeah,
The
people
only thing is that crossing state lines is technically easier than
right,
leaving a country,
yeah,
right, you're right.
right? So like people pick up and go, I'm going to California, right? Like
Yeah,
people,
but even though if when if they have the means, some people doesn't want to leave.
oh no, for sure.
yeah. This is my city. I'm staying,
Yeah, right.
right?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. I want Killer Croc to mess up my life at some point.
Well, that
Well,
was the Waynes, right? They're like, I can make this better, and even in
no,
Batman, Bruce Wayne's
or
the same,
wait,
right?
that's the that's the perfect excuse to be failing in life. It's I don't succeed because I have this.
That's a good
If I
point.
don't have this villains messing up everything, maybe I find out that I'm a screw up too.
Right. And there's also, it's kind of interesting because it's like there's some places where how it runs is a badge of honor,
Mhm.
right? So like if you live in Toronto and things don't go well, oh, Toronto sucks, da 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 da.
Yeah,
You go to New York and New York's like, hey man, this is New York, and you just kind of got to deal with it. They'll complain about it, but like, yeah, New York's New York, man, and then you
yeah,
just get that extra hardened kind of way of going about life.
that's a good point. So maybe that's Gotham, right? Well, I
Gotham,
guess
yeah,
that is Gotham.
Gotham is New York, yes, in a way, yes.
Yeah, and it's like, so
Like,
it's like suck it up, right? Like
yeah,
you're here because you're meant to be here. So, right?
hmm hmm
Like if you don't like it, leave, but we're gonna stay because we're built for the city, kind of thing, right?
right, yeah. This is how it's always been.
Yeah, right. Like if you're not cut out for it, that's you. That's not the city, right?
I will admit this though,
Mhm.
that if anybody on the Justice League is getting chat by Batman, I'd be like, man, go fix Gotham.
Yeah.
Don't talk to me. Go fix Gotham.
You have all the resources to do this right now. Why are you bugging me?
You have a contingency plan for Superman and Wonder Woman, but Killer Croc kicks your ass every like 3 issues. What are you talking
Right?
about?
And how often do they have that plot where like Superman comes in to do something in Gotham and Batman's like, stay out? And it's like, well, we could probably fix this a lot faster than you, dude. Let him do his
Yeah,
thing.
yeah. Let me blink twice. You know
Yeah.
what Batman is the kid who won't let their parents help them with homework. No, no, no. I can do it. I can
Yeah.
do it.
That's an apt analogy. I like that. Yeah.
And then it ends up being a mess
Yeah.
anyway.
Over and over. Well, the story they love to do over and over nowadays is the Batman has to rely on his family, right? And like, it's like he has a
He's
whole
become,
family of Bat people that you can lean on.
become Vin Diesel.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, like I don't know. It's interesting. But yeah, I guess Gotham is the worst. But to your point, it depends on what you think the worst is. Is it safety leaving at night? Maybe Gotham's beautiful in the day because we rarely see it at daytime, and it's just like, yeah,
Yeah,
at nighttime you just stay inside, right?
yeah, yeah. Because like, think about it. If you need Green Lantern to protect you,
Yeah,
your city, like whatever that mass event's going to be in your city, no,
yeah.
right? like I'm not living where Green Lantern lives. Flash maybe, but even
Yeah.
then, he's got some crazy people
Just
as.
don't go to the bank, right?
Pardon?
Don't go to the bank at all.
Yeah, exactly.
Online
Exactly.
only.
Yeah. So yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. Yeah. Yeah, these are coming along great. I love this. Yeah, these look amazing.
Yeah, he's really got the emotion coming through.
Hmm.
Yeah, maybe the anatomy is perfect, but I try to get the expression, the
Oh, that's all. Yeah, that's all that matters. Yeah, you go. You're like Geordie LaForge on Enterprise.
Nice. I'm I'm watching that again. It's so good. uh,
TNG.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
That
I'm
was
still in the first season, but yeah, watching it again, it's
when
like,
they had no money.
yeah, that's right. The effects
Yeah,
are,
you.
but the show is excellent. Yeah,
The story's great. Characterization's great.
yeah.
Yeah.
I always thought that the intro was CGI, but it was a model.
Oh, really?
Yeah, yeah.
I didn't realize that.
Yes, it's really good. I saw it. I don't know. Have you seen the channel? I think it was the channel, the Corridor Crew.
Oh
No,
yeah.
I'm familiar with it.
That's a channel. It's a channel where they look at visual effects and stunts and everything, and they sometimes they speak with the creators, with the people responsible on that, and they like or if they don't know how they made it, they guess, and there is one of the guys who knows how they did it, and then she revealed it at the end. It's
Oh,
really
cool.
interesting and fun.
Yeah, no, I love that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's Corridor Crew, right? Or I'm saying it wrong?
Not from. I'm not sure because I've never seen
Okay,
it.
okay. Adriano, you are muted. If you're still checking your okay.
Yeah, this is great.
So where are your current projects? What are you doing lately?
So we just finished the Kickstarters for Atrium, which is a 5-issue miniseries, and it's about two paramedics who are tasked with delivering a donor heart to a mysterious patient. But en route, they and their security detail are intercepted by a group of deadly assassins who happen to be vampires.
Oh,
So we finished that up. We did 3 Kickstarters for it because we didn't want to do 5. We wanted to get the story out there in a relatively quick manner, but also too we wanted to save our backers from having to pay too much shipping. And we've gone to oh gosh, maybe 5 or 6 shows this year, and then a couple of in-store signings at some comic book stores like Mostly Comics and St. Catharines. We actually got our start at Capitaine Quebec in Montreal in 2023, so late last year, almost about a year ago. And then we've been at Big B in Hamilton, Gotham in Mississauga, just outside of Toronto, and then also Red Nails too. So we've had some really good experiences, and then some smaller cons um, in the GTA, and then we were even in Buffalo for a show. And
nice.
it's the learning curve on doing your own Kickstarter is something else. It's you know turn your beard gray, to be honest with you. But I love it. Our backers have been fantastic, and now that it's done, we're kind of like gonna kind of disappear for a little bit, and then wait for the con season to ramp up again, and then we'll be out selling the single issues, and then we'll do some sort of a graphic novel, whether it's a color one or maybe even an artist edition for later in the year. So that'll
The
be in
ones
2025, I guess.
Okay,
It's kind of weird saying that, but yes, in a few weeks it'll be 2025.
You're the ones that you already published were black and white or color?
No, they're in color. They're in color, and we were really lucky. The colorists, Nikos Koutsis and Mike Torres, they color for Image Comics, and they do Savage Dragon. So, yeah, the art team is like, we were really lucky, and Lucas Falapi, who's our artist out of Sao Paulo, Brazil, his pencils work really, really well with Nikos and Mike's work, and makes what Peter, my co-writer, and I have put down on paper really, really sparkles. So we cannot, we couldn't be happier with the product, and we're just looking forward now to coming up with more stuff
Nice.
in the new year.
That's awesome. So yeah, so you do a lot of the shops and stuff. It sounds like.
Yeah, we we love the cons, but sometimes getting the cons can be challenging, and so you got to look for other avenues. And why not support your local comic shops? Do a little signing on an afternoon. Give them some copies, promote it yourself, show up, talk to their fan base, and it's great. We've had a lot of success doing that.
Right on. Even with the indies, I'm
Yeah.
always like shocked because if you have the indies on the shelf in like an LCS, they tend to, again, you're next to Batman, so
Right.
you're usually twice the price. And
Right. Yeah. So like for retailers, we have a retailer price, and we have them sell it for whatever they would sell Batman for. So
Right
it's not our con price. And then the thing that we've discovered is that people are there to buy you, right? So it's kind of hard to say I'm going to support a title where I don't know the creator. We're not coming in with like Marvel or a DC title or a Boom or Image title behind our name. We're not in previews, and they're going to then shell out money for something sight unseen. But when they get to talk to you in a shop, and they realize you're you're sincere about the project that you're working on, and you want to get it out into people's hands, they're more apt to support you then. And to be honest with you, the cons are great. The big cons are great, but you're competing with a lot of different things there. So you have cosplay, which I love. You've got celebrities, which I love. Like all the stuff that makes those cons special really makes it tough for people who are there to buy comics, because to get in the door sometimes that's all their discretionary spending.
Oh yeah, especially the bigger shows.
Yeah, especially the bigger shows. Like you factor in parking, food. You have 2 or 3 kids, and then you're getting autographs or whatever. That's just, it's a lot to
Assuming
ask.
you're local, right? Yeah.
Pardon me?
That's assuming you're local to the
That's
show.
assuming you're local, exactly. So if you're coming in out of town and then you're like, oh, we're gonna spend the night in Toronto or spend the night in Montreal or Niagara Falls or whatever, that's an added expense as well too. So when you're in a spot where it's like, yeah, they're there to buy comics, they're obviously there to pick up their pull list. But if they're there for comics, and everyone's always looking for another story that's engaging,
Sure.
so you go where that audience is. And sometimes doing Kickstarters and selling it online, there's a bit of a disconnect because you don't have that kind of connection. Because like, let's be honest, people go buy bad Spider-Man books because Spider-Man is a book that they've either, they're keeping their collection going, or that's their favorite hero from when they were a kid. So there's a bit of license there for people to stick with them. But if they've never heard of Atrium and the characters in Atrium, then it's a bit harder of a sell because there's no connection.
Yeah.
To the story, or even to the creators going in.
Yeah, and that's the advantage with like an Image or Boom book. At least usually it's the creator builds their name with a Marvel book, and then they say, "Hey, now I'm going indie," right?
Yes.
But it's not the same as somebody who starts in the other direction,
No.
right? And starts fully indie, and that says, "Well, I'm not writing Batman anytime soon, but maybe take a chance, right?
Exactly. Yes.
But yeah, it's still it's good to hear that even with that, folks are still coming to the shop and like supporting indies and stuff. It's impressive. At least when you're there, like you said, maybe it's that connection, right? It's I'm the human being behind this. You want to check it out? Let me tell you what the story is about. You're not distracted by all the cosplayers, stickers, whatever around you. It's just you at the shop. So it does sound like a good advantage.